Hey, don't you say it.
Is she even legal?
Ladies and gentlemen,
Well,
You can't answer that with a straight face.
That pause.
You can't answer that with a straight face.
she's fictional. So yes, she doesn't exist.
FBI, open up!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Anime Club After Dark, the podcast that delves into all things anime, manga, and otaku culture related. I'm your host, Alex, but you can call me Senpai, and joining me tonight, I have our poser extraordinaire, Nitai. Oh, God.
Sorry, that's something in my mouth.
And our chivalry of Shotaro.
Hi.
Yeah, you weren't going to try and top that, were
Oh
you?
no, I could never. Plus, I'm a bottom, so.
Oh, you don't
Wow.
say. I can't wait to listen to that once we're done.
Yeah, Jesus. Anyway, so tonight we actually have a topic that we're going to be talking about, brought to us by our very own Natai. You came up with this idea.
I'm the best sponsor there is.
The best sponsor we've ever had. But yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about this because I think this is like the second time you brought this up, but we finally got around to recording it. But do you actually want to describe what it is? Because I think you're better at describing it than I am.
Sure, yeah, I can do that. I think all of us had this one show, probably even more than one, that we watched it. And, we liked it. It was a good time and all. But when you're done, you think to yourself, yeah, it was good. But then you have this like sort of feeling like you probably didn't connect to it as much as either you wanted to or you sort of expected to, or was even expected to connect to. Like there are all of these shows that, you'll talk to some of your friends like, oh my God, this show, it did this and that to me. I was so emotional about it. It felt so connected to the characters. And then you get around to watching it and you're like, yeah, it was good. So that's pretty much it. That's what I think we're gonna talk about. I don't know if indifferent is the word I'm looking for, but there's gotta be some word that describes this feeling. I don't know. It's weird.
It is an interesting feeling where you watch something and you think, yeah, this is good, but at another time in my life or in another place, I probably would have felt very, very differently about this.
Yeah.
Like whether I would have loved it more or I would have absolutely hated it.
You want me to talk about like the show that got me to think about this? Like,
I do, because you've been talking about this with me for the last like week or so because you just finished this show.
Yeah, so not like a few days ago or a week ago, I finished Tioka finally, and it was like a very good friend of mine recommended it to me, and I thought to myself, yeah, fuck it, I'd watch that. For the longest time, I've been wanting to go through KyoAni's catalog for obvious reasons, and this is a show that I was really curious about.
Pun
were you
intended.
curious?
Pun not intended. Pun not intended. And I liked it. I think I even loved it. But when I finished it, I was kind of, yeah, that was a good time. But I felt sort of like I was missing something. Like I didn't get the show. And then, watching some parts of it again and maybe going through some videos of it on YouTube, I'm like, yeah, I got that. But it felt like it didn't just, I don't know if to say hit me or not in a certain way. It just kind of, like sometimes you're watching a show and you're feeling like maybe you're not really into it. You're not giving it a fair shake because you're just not in that headspace, It feels like you're just not into it. Even though it's like ticking all the boxes, and Hyoka is ticking all the boxes. It looks incredible. The characters are great. I love the voice acting. I love the soundtrack is really stellar. I like the show as a whole.
KyoAni flex.
Yeah, that KyoAni flex, dude. Like the character animation in that show is fantastic, dude. It's so good. but it just when I finished it, I was like, yeah, I liked it. Like, kind of sure. I guess I more respected than love it. I guess I just didn't feel like I had that much of an emotional connection to it.
I've heard a lot of people say that they're lukewarm about Hyoka, which I don't understand because it's amazing.
What do they say about it in terms of like their
a common complaint
detractors?
is that there's no tension, there's no like importance to what they're doing. They're just doing like random things and it doesn't really matter.
I mean,
Like
they
there's
are
no
in high
like
school.
overarching plot or direction that it's going.
If you think there's no tension in Hyoka, I got fucking news for you when it comes to K-On!
Like, I think Hyoka is more driven by its characters, and their growth. Let's not kid ourselves. Most of the show is Hotaro like changing, which I think that they did that well. It's just not as overstated as a lot of anime can be. It's pretty subtle.
I mean, what I loved about Hyoka was even though the mysteries weren't that like didn't have that much like weren't climactic,
Mm-hmm.
they were very detailed.
Yeah.
And I really like that detail. It's very even like it still caught my attention. Like I don't need like life or death situations as long as like there's like this thinking thought process being explained to me in all this excruciating detail. It's really interesting to see. So I thought it did that really well. But apparently some people have the attention span of a fruit fly. They can't keep track of what's going on in Hyoka.
But it
Show gets testy when people say that they hate Hyoka.
I get testy when people disagree with me. Okay, you either agree or
Clearly.
you leave.
But that's the thing. Like that all everything you said is correct, and I agree with that. But for some reason, when I'm looking back at the show, I'm just thinking to myself, yeah, it did that, and nothing else. It's weird. I don't know. It's fucking strange. Like maybe it's just as simple as I didn't emotionally connect to it, and that's it. But it's kind of I don't know. I wonder where that feeling comes from.
Do you think that if you'd watched this back when you were like in high school, that you would have maybe connected to it a little more?
I'd probably feel like Hotaro is like the coolest shit ever. and honestly, I'm still kind of like can very relate to his feeling. Like, yeah, someday I want to just not do anything at all. Like, I can fuck with that, but I don't know. I really don't know. It's so weird. I'm like for the past week I've been trying to like sort of come to terms and understand where that feeling comes from. Because again, maybe it's that simple as just didn't connect with it. I don't know. It's strange.
I've always been more of along the lines of how Sho thinks about Hyoka. Like, I wouldn't go so far as to call it a masterpiece, but it's
good.
Really good.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
I think if I had to choose like a single word to describe Hyoka, it'd be very understated.
Yes. Yeah.
I know that very understated is 2 words, but shut the fuck up.
I mean, yeah, it is understated, and I think that's a quality of it that I really enjoy. Because, again, a lot of anime are super in your face about stuff, and this is the theme of the show, we need to say it out loud, and stuff like that. I mean, but... And it's not doing that, which, again, is really cool, and I really like...
Wait, do you mean the shoving themes in your face like people die when they are killed?
Crazy, I know.
It's a crazy thought. You might not believe it, but people actually die when they are killed.
But again, it's a thing. I still don't have an answer to this question. Like, why do I feel like that? But it's something I wanted to bring up because I wonder if you guys had any good examples of shows that you feel just like that about them.
Well, I feel like since we started in the middle of our show notes doc, we should move on to show.
Oh
God, I have shows listed, but I don't. I don't know how to segue because the way that Nitai described Hyoka, I don't really know if I have a show that I feel like that about. But what very distant tangent.
Go for it.
What you were talking about makes me think about how I felt when I watched Evangelion.
Ooh,
specifically
no.
Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Okay, the original series.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask whether you meant the original series of the movies.
Yeah. So this was more of a case of like going in expecting something and then not getting what I expected and not liking it because I did not get what I came for.
So disappointment.
I want to say disappointment. Like, okay, I thought this was going to be an action mecha when it was really just suffer porn. And I was just uncomfortable with the whole thing and very confused. And I was like, I did not have a good time. However, I do like suffer porn in general. So if I had known this was suffer porn from the beginning, then I probably would have liked it.
I know you like suffer porn because you fucking love ReZero.
Oh,
They're
honey.
so good.
Yes. But that is not what we're talking about.
But it is suffer porn.
Yes,
Do
it
you-
is.
Do you think you like maybe you'll come back to it one day and in the
No.
future and
I did. Listen, I don't.
I like
I
how
don't.
you just very assuredly answer.
No.
I don't rewatch things unless I'm forced to, for this podcast. But
Wow.
but I did watch the rebuilds, and I do really like the rebuilds. So that can technically be called a rewatch if you want it to be.
I wouldn't consider it because, I mean, pretty much everything after the second film is completely new story stuff.
I mean,
Don't
but I still
spoil
watched
it,
the
I'm
first
still-
film and the second film.
True.
Mm.
I have, so I've watched the entirety of the original Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion, 3 times now. The first time I watched it, I was way too young to understand any of the subtleties that were going on. I was 8, I think. And I liked it because, oh my god, explosions and shit happening.
How did your
Wow.
8-year-old self like react to see Shinji masturbating over Asuka in the movie?
I did not see End of Evangelion until much later.
Okay.
I'm just talking about the actual series itself. But I watched that, and at like 8, 9 years old, I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I was younger than 10. I just thought, oh, cool, explosions, robots, awesome. And then I watched it when I rewatched it when I was in high school. I want to say I was a sophomore or a junior or so, either 10th or 11th grade. And I finally saw a lot of the psychological subtleties that were in that story. I was like, holy shit, I did not remember any of this from when I was a kid. This is fucking awesome. And then I actually rewatched it a couple of years ago, in the process of watching all of the rebuild movies, or at least the 3 that are out. And I wanted to do it as a comparison, to compare the original to this side by side. And I'm like, yeah, the original's, I still love the original. I still think it's a legendary anime series, and it's probably one of the greatest mecha shows ever made, but god, they turned up the suffer porn a lot for the movies.
All I remember is that it looked really good in the movies.
It did.
And that is a way to keep my attention.
I do find it, a lot of people shit on the original Evangelion, especially if they've never seen it, because I mean, the last 2 episodes of that series, the animation just takes an absolute shit anyway. But even from like the midpoint onwards,
It's still really
the
good.
animation just starts to steadily go downhill.
But the show is still like really fucking good, even though it's kind of declining over time. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
can
And
vividly
I'm just
remember.
saying that from a technical standpoint, I don't really think it's stood the test of time very well. Story-wise, I think it has, but like from a technical standpoint, it certainly hasn't.
Debatable.
The music is still awesome, though.
Yeah, it's a shame Netflix removed Fly Me to the Moon, but what can I say?
Yeah, I mean,
Anyway,
you seem bitter, Natai.
no, I'm not.
Yeah, I definitely understand what show's saying, though. Ava's a weird one because there doesn't seem to be any kind of middle ground with Ava, particularly the original.
It's
People
also-
either think it's just pretentious shit, or it's a fucking masterpiece.
I think it's very dependent on whether you do connect to it or not. Because when I watched it, it hit me like a fucking truck with some of its scenes. Like very near the end, there are some scenes that really stuck with me, and I have a feeling like End of Evangelion I watched like 4 times by now, and every time I got more and more out of it. So, like, I am thinking about rewatching the show itself maybe in the not so
what
distant
scene
future.
in End of Evangelion stuck with you the most?
All of it. No,
The sticky
in End
part?
in End of Evangelion, all of the movies stuck with me. In the show itself, there are certain scenes that really like, I don't know if you remember that one scene near the end where they find Asuka like abandoned in this warehouse alone, and she's like in this bathtub by herself, like skinny as fuck, like she hasn't ate anything in a week. But like,
Oh yes, I've seen it. I remember it. It's a hell of a thing. To
It's
see
a hell
when
of
you're
a thing.
12 or 13 years old.
but yeah, I think that show is very dependent on whether you like connect to it or not. You know?
Yeah. I think, I don't know. There's some people like that are my age or even older that just look at it and it's like, oh my god, this is from the golden age of anime. You can never criticize it. I'm like, okay, but its animation is kind of terrible halfway through.
I guess.
I do. I was at Otakon a couple of years ago, or no, last year, and Hiroyuki Imaishi was there, and he was asked a question about what character he hated the most that he ever had to draw, and he,
Shinji.
without missing a beat, goes, Shinji. I fucking hate Shinji.
Oh.
What a
Wow.
legend.
I always hated drawing Shinji.
That's funny. I did not know that. That's funny.
The speed at which he answered that, like the second the translator got done with the Shinji.
Do you have a show that sort of answers that criteria as in the start, in the beginning?
I have a show, and this is something that I've gone back to recently. That I love it, like, and it's Naruto. I fucking love Naruto. I think it's one of the greatest. I think it's one of the greatest shonen ever, and I think I'll always love it, especially because it's a long-running shonen. Number one, that has ended, and number two, that had a very satisfying ending, at least to me. But I wanted to.
Was it good all the way through?
That's what I'm getting to.
Okay.
But you know, if you listen to this podcast for a while, you know that I've kind of fallen out of love with the shonen genre a little bit, and I don't tend to pick up a lot of new shonen that come out. For various reasons. Some of them I do, but the ones that come out now, I typically don't pick them up. So I wanted to do an experiment. So last year, I actually went and I watched the first few episodes of Naruto. I actually ended up watching the entire first arc with Haku and Zabuza, that whole fight thing. And I came to an inescapable conclusion that if Naruto premiered today, I would drop it by about episode 5.
Because it's basically Black Clover.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was going to say that. It's like, I watched this, I'm like, I forgot that Naruto was really annoying in the first few episodes. And it's like, God, I would have dropped this for the same reason I dropped Black Clover, because Asta was annoying as fuck. But I came to that realization, and it's something that I still love. Like, I still love so many things about Naruto, and I love the fact that it had an enormous cast, and every single character got some kind of a character arc throughout the life of the series, and it was all of them were resolved by the end. I love some really good fights in them. I still think one of the greatest filler episodes of all time is in Naruto. It's episode 100. They try and look under Kakashi's mask. It's stupid and funny as fuck, but it works, especially, you know, since it comes after a really intense arc. I fucking love the Chunin exam arc. It's one of the few tournament arcs in anime ever that I've genuinely loved. But I was forced to admit to myself that after going back and rewatching that first arc, I would have dropped it today if it aired.
Wait.
I mean, if it aired as a new series today.
So that again specifically because of Naruto, the main character?
No, it wasn't just
was it
that.
because of
the
other-
animation in the first few episodes is really janky. It looks like they were working with a very small budget. And also I think it's the first 20 episodes or so are, this is a really nitpicky thing, are in standard definition.
I mean,
and they never bothered to really upscale them properly.
that's more on
when they did
Crunchyroll, right?
Huh?
That's on Crunchyroll, or
No,
like-
I have these on DVD.
Oh, okay.
I have the entire original series and most of Shippuden on DVD.
That's a lot of boxes.
But no, they never really bothered to upscale the first like 20 or so episodes properly, so it looks terrible when you watch it back.
Hmm.
But anyway, yeah, that's one of the ones that I've got that are like that for me, and it's there's a part of me that really wants to go back and rewatch the entire series. Well, that's a huge commitment. It's like 500 plus episodes, I think.
Do it.
If I can rewatch Yu-Gi-Oh, you can rewatch Naruto.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't want to. I don't want to do either of those things.
Oh,
They both sound very
you.
terrible. But I won't change my opinion on it just because I went back and I came to that realization. I still think Naruto's one of, if not the greatest shonen out there. It's a shame that young anime fans today know Naruto simply as Boruto's dad.
Wait, so if you realize that you don't like it as much now, why do you still think it's one of the greatest shonens ever?
Because I know how it ends.
Weren't you the one who was like, if it doesn't catch my attention in the first few episodes and then it's not worth
Absolute
sticking
garbage.
I do. I stand by that statement too. And a lot of my feelings for Naruto probably have to do with when I started watching it. I mean, when I started watching Naruto in the mid 2000s, I fucking loved shonen. I mean, that was most of what I watched were shonen animes. So
still
I was garbling that shit up.
You still like shonen.
I like Demon Slayer. It was pretty good.
JoJo is shonen, you know.
JoJo is a shonen, although it's hard to just categorize it as shonen. I want to put it in its own
Yeah,
category
I
of
know,
just
I know.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
JoJo's Bizarre Shonen.
But God, imagine if you're only like words escape me all of a sudden.
The only
Your only
shonen you watched
exposure.
is JoJo's?
No, if your only exposure to JoJo's was the original JoJo's Part 3 anime adaptation.
Oh, the
from
OVA?
90s. Yeah.
That dub is so good.
The dub it's phenomenally entertaining. But yeah, I don't know. Yes, you're pointing out the hypocrisy to me, and I agree. It is absolutely hypocritical of me to say that looking back, but I don't care. I don't care.
Okay.
I would list another example, but I just can't remember what I wrote down.
Oh, well, that's because you can't see your monitor currently. The
No.
next thing you have on your list that you wrote down here is March Comes In Like a Lion.
So here's the thing with March Comes In Like a Lion. Okay.
Let me be your eyes, Nitai.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's a phenomenal show. I mean, shit, I cried multiple times watching it. But again, it's
Me too, honey. Me
yeah,
too.
but I remember when we talked about it and you told me, yes, second season, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. This show is a 10 out of 10. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. But then, see, it's the same. Like, I agree with everything you probably have to say about March Comes In Like a Lion. Because it is that good. It is really fucking good. But for some reason, I don't know why. I can't, like, point at it and say, yes, this is perfect. Like, I can't do that for some reason. And again, maybe I'm just in a different was in a different headspace back then when I watched it. Like, I really, like, I have a feeling if I'm gonna rewatch it, I'll have a much deeper appreciation of it. I'm 100% certain. Because
You know what would be great? A good reason for you to rewatch it is if they
Third
come out with a
season.
season 3.
oh, please. Oh, I would die. Oh, please. I need it. But anyway, like, I think as an anime viewer, I nowadays have much deeper appreciation for the shows I watch in terms of, like, appreciating like different aspects of a production than when I first watched Martian Comes Alive, both season 1 and 2. So I feel like I'm gonna love the show even more if I rewatch it, and maybe I should just to see if I'm right or wrong about that statement. But it's
I don't know. I don't know about you, Natai, or Show. Feel free to chime in on this too. But personally, for me, as I've gotten older, like when I was really young and not anywhere near as versed into anime or even Japanese culture as I am now, like the only thing I really cared about was like the action oriented shows, and I didn't give a shit about the story. I mean, the story could have been good, the story could have been bad, as long as the action and the animation was good. I didn't really care that much, but I found that as I've gotten older, I appreciate like the slower burn shows that have like the deep involved stories and the good character development. Like I appreciate that so much more now than I appreciate things like animation or like action scenes.
I'm with you on that, but when I look back on some of the shows that got me back into anime after, like, when I was in high school, so again, I talked about it before, but I watched Death Note, and that got me back into anime. And then one of the shows that I watched right after that was Your Lie in April. And at first, like, I watched...
That'll kill you, too.
You bet. I remember watching the opening, and I was like, is this show for me? And then by the end of it, I was crying like a baby. So I don't know, like, I think even by the time I watched March Comes in Like a Lion, I was looking for that type of show, but I don't like using that phrase. But for some reason, I have this sort of fear that maybe it didn't hit me as much as like it did other people, and just didn't connect to it as much. Like, oh, here's a good example. So Anohana. When I first watched that, from the get-go, loved it. I remember finishing it, giving it a 10 out of 10. I was like, yeah, this show, fucking amazing. And then, like, maybe it was like 2 months ago. I think it was around May of this year. I remember being in a really bad place, like not feeling good at all, being kind of depressed. And for some reason, I'm just browsing through Netflix. I'm seeing Anohana. I'm like, yes, this is a good idea to binge this at 1 a.m. in the morning. Fuck yeah. and I did.
That's a terrible idea, by the way. Don't do this.
Yeah, and that's what I did. And man, that got such a much bigger emotional reaction out of me when I did that. Just binge that fucking show. And I love it even more now. And I have a feeling that was because I was such in a different place and I sort of needed that, sort of release, that cathartic release, just I needed a good cry, and that's why I'm thinking much highly of the show now. I think that's also, like, again, that's maybe sort of a similar case. I don't know.
What about you, Show? Do you find that as you've gotten older, maybe you appreciate like the more emotional stories more than probably you would have before?
Listen, I don't have emotions, so I don't know what you're talking about. But I definitely still appreciate the visuals a lot. I feel like I appreciate it more now that I'm older, because when I was younger, I could have seen a potato doing a backflip on the screen, and I'd be like, wow, it's doing a backflip.
Yo!
Wow.
I would like to see that.
Let me link you a video.
Just watch The Devil's a Part-Timer. You see potatoes flying everywhere. But
do you have shows that you think to yourself, if I was in a different headspace, I'd probably have a much deeper appreciation for them?
Yes, I do. But I wasn't finished with my thought process.
Sorry.
Let him finish.
No, but like, yeah, I still watch stuff like Fire Force, which I literally only watch for the visuals and
me too.
The
but
plot,
honey, me too.
the characters.
There's no story there.
Stupid. But the visuals are beautiful, and like, I'm watching The Great Pretender, and a big reason why I like that is that the background art is fucking gorgeous, and I'm like, yes, I am here for good art. Good art is a good selling point. Okay? But yeah. Shows that, Alex was talking about how he liked Naruto when he watched it, and now he doesn't because he realizes it's shit. And I have...
I did not say that.
That's basically... This is a TLDR. I have a very similar experience with Steins Gate because I watched Steins Gate when I was pretty new to anime, so I didn't have many.
When you were edgy as fuck.
No, I didn't have many standards. Clearly, I've been watching Steins Gate. No, but I could look past all the shitty characters when I first watched it, and I could appreciate the interesting plot. But looking back now, I could never, ever have watched that because all of those characters are just so annoying. I could never have sit through and experience this plot when I hate all the characters. It's so dumb.
Just wait till you watch Zero.
I'm never gonna
watch it.
Why would I? This is exactly why, like, when Zero came out, I'm like, girl, I hate Steins Gate. I'm not gonna watch Zero. So
Yeah, don't bother.
yeah.
Just play the visual novel.
Visual novel. Honey.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah. No.
I will say that is a complaint I hear multiple people have with Steins Gate, is that its characters are, I don't want to say all of them are necessarily one-dimensional, but all of them have a different like level of annoyance.
This is not my aesthetic. Not my character tropes that I want to see.
That trap though,
No.
it's all right. Excuse me.
They play up that side of him for such a ridiculous point in Zero. It's so fucking dumb. Ugh. Let's not talk about that.
No. But no, I get what he's saying though. That it is not a unique criticism I've heard of Steins Gate, but it's understandable. I think a lot of the characters in Steins Gate are meant to appeal to a very certain like demographic. Like you have Okabe, who is like a cardboard
Like a
cutout of a
neckbeards?
Chinibyo character. You have a literal trap who is meant to appeal to trap lovers. Which in the visual novel you can actually romance Ruka.
I mean, he does in the show.
Kinda. But it just doesn't make sense with Okabe's character why you would do this.
I mean, honestly, like some of the point, like they do that is because it, like the whole show sort of takes a look at otaku culture, so it makes sense that the main cast is gonna be like different aspects of the
Otaku stereotypes.
yeah, exactly. So it makes sense that they would be portrayed like that.
Yeah. I can understand people's annoyance though, because
Yeah.
some of it is way over the top.
Yep, definitely.
All right. Is it my turn to talk about something now?
I guess so.
All right. Well, I'm going to talk about something that both Natai and I love a lot, and that's the Monogatari series. You may be surprised, Natai, that I put it on my list.
I don't know. I can't see the list.
I know. Bless you, child. But no. So I started watching the Monogatari series back shortly before this podcast started, back in 2015. And I very quickly watched all of what was out at the time and then caught up to it. But it was not my first attempt at watching the Monogatari series. I had originally attempted to watch the Monogatari series back either in 2011 or 2012. I cannot remember which. I want to say it was toward the end of 2011, though. It was, I think it was shortly after Nisei Monogatari had started airing. And of course, Bakemonogatari was kind of popular the season that it aired. And, you know, its sequel was airing. So I kind of wanted to see what it was about. And I picked up Bakemonogatari and I realized that, God, they talk really fast. And they're talking about a lot of stuff, and a lot of it doesn't make a lot of sense. Fuck this show.
Yeah, that show is a bit rough to get into. If you're not, like, it depends on just where you at into, I really fucking hate calling it like that, but where you at in your anime viewing experience. You know, it's not a show you're just gonna throw at someone who's just getting into the medium, you know?
Oh, if you want someone to absolutely hate anime, make their first anime series they watch be the Monogatari series. They'll never watch anime again.
Specifically the Hanako and Hitagi shower scene.
Okay, they'll watch a lot of anime after that.
I think they started it way too heavy. They didn't have to start with like a fucking monologue that was like the speed of light. You know, ease us into it.
And also, like, the visuals of that first episode are super avant-garde, like, really Shinbo, which makes sense.
And you know, without any of the context behind a lot of it, it comes off as just very pretentious, which a lot of people still perceive the Monogatari series to be very, very pretentious. And I don't think that's necessarily an unfair assumption to lob at it.
It is very self-indulgent, which would rub people the wrong way.
See, the Monogatari series needs to learn from Occultic 9 on how to handle fast-talking characters in an easily
it does not. The less it pays
way.
attention to Occultic 9, the better.
Don't listen to Alex.
No, you just can't stand that no one else on this podcast likes that show.
Well, no one else on this podcast has good taste.
Uh-huh. But when I went back and I tried again with the Monogatari series, because so back then I just kind of consumed anime, a little bit of manga, and I didn't really kind of delve into the deeper culture behind it a whole lot. Like, I knew a little bit about Japanese culture, but I didn't really make any effort to dig really deep into it. And I think in order to like really appreciate what the Monogatari series tries to do, you have to know a few things about Japanese culture. Otherwise, it's going to come off as just indulgently weird and crazy. So once I actually had some of that knowledge and I went back and I watched it back in 2015, I fucking fell in love with it instantly. Even the few episodes that I'd watched of Bakemonogatari back in the day where I thought, what is this pretentious shit? Fuck this show. I was like, this is fucking amazing. Like, the fast dialogue where they're this... Like, my favorite dialogue in the Monogatari series is just the dialogue where they're just bullshitting with each other, and sometimes it doesn't have anything to do with the story. Like, it's so fucking good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When I watched Bakemonogatari, I really didn't like it. But when I watched the rest of the Monogatari series, I actually did enjoy the other seasons, if you can call them that. And you know, my biggest problem with Bakemonogatari was that I felt like it was not like a comprehensive story. It was just like, I'm going to introduce you to all these different characters, and then later on we'll get like an actual story where I actually care about them, and you're actually telling me what is happening. So I feel like I would like Bakemonogatari if I watched it out of order, because I don't care about the characters right now. But like when I first watched it, I didn't really like it.
If I could wipe my entire memory of the Monogatari series and rewatch it, now that I think all of it's out or made, that's going to be made, at least anime wise, I'd love to try and rewatch it with Kizu Monogatari first, because that chronologically comes first in the story, even though it came very much later in, you know, the timeline of the anime. So I'd love to go back and see if my opinion of the Monogatari series would be vastly different if I had to start with Kizu.
It works surprisingly well. Actually, I wouldn't say surprisingly, but it works really well as a jumping off point, because let's be honest, it's the most like action heavy part of the series.
Oh, I'm gonna throw this out there. Like, the best fight ever in the history of anime is the Kishat Aragi fight in Part 3. I will fight everyone on that.
It is really easy to get into compared to Bake. But it's sort of like some of the charm of Bake to me was always sort of the unknown aspects of these characters in this world, that they're like, just like, I mean, I can't remember, I think it was like the first or second episode where they go meet Oshino, and Shinobu's just sitting there, and Senjogara's like, yeah, what's that about? And Araki is like, oh yeah, we don't talk about this. And they just leave it at that for the rest of the season.
Just consume product. Don't
Don't
pay
think-
attention to the
don't think
lowly
about it.
vampire in the corner. Yeah, and it's weird shit like that. And then of course you get to Nise Monogatari and you got fucking your sister with a toothbrush.
Oof.
that oof. So it's like of the three parts of the Monogatari series that are considered part of the first season, which is Kizu, Bake, and Nise. I would, yeah, you're right, Nitai, that Kizu is probably the easiest to introduce people to, because it's, for lack of a better term, it's the most anime-like of the Monogatari series.
Mm. But yeah, again, Monogatari is another weird case. Like, I already love it. It's one of my favorites, but I wonder, like, currently I'm rewatching it with a buddy of mine who's watching it for the first time, and I am picking a lot more stuff that's like related to the themes when I'm like, each time we finish an episode, we like talk about it and we go in depth and what we think about it. And I do enjoy that very much because, again, I'm picking up way more stuff than when I watched it on my own for the first time. And now I have and although now I know where the show is going as we progress, so I do have that. But yeah, that's a show that maybe, I don't know if I'll ever rewatch it again because it is a long show, but maybe in like 5 years, 10 years, I wonder if there'll be anything that to take away. Because, again, that show that I really connected with emotionally, I mean, fuck, Tsubasa Tiger is a really special arc for me because I connect to it so much,
Yeah, and I mean, and you want an example of how to develop a side character well, the Kaiki arc in second season.
My boy.
That is how you do character development for a side character really well.
My boy.
For a short span of time, make him the main character and then tell a story around him, and it works so well.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got for us, Natai? I noticed you had Steins Gate 0 on your list, so we already talked about Steins Gate, but I feel like I know what you're going to talk about with Steins Gate 0, so go ahead.
But here's the thing, I don't know if it even qualifies because I have a really good feeling that no matter where I would have been in my life, I still would have hated it by the end of it. It's such a lesser show than the original. So I don't know even
the problem with Steins Gate 0 is its adaptation. Like, it cut a lot of stuff out. It really, like,
because it's really, really important that you see the girls in Christmas costumes in bed playing with each other. That's really helpful for the
that was
plot.
a very important scene. Fuck you.
No, it wasn't. It was played for a gag. Who the fuck cares?
I just like that line. Leskin says, "That girl over there is very pretty."
It's
That's
a guy.
a dude.
It's
Huh?
a dude.
That look on his face, huh?
Nah. Steins Gate 0 fucking sucks. Just throws misdirections at you for no apparent reason and then does nothing with it. Ugh, fucking.
It's a huge problem with its adaptation because the visual novel goes into greater detail about a lot of stuff they just kind of breezed over.
But we're not talking about the visual novel, right?
I know. I'm just telling you why you feel that way.
Hey, guys,
I kind of feel that way too. I still say that the for the anime in particular, like the first 5 or 6 episodes are wonderfully done, and then it just kind of falls off a cliff.
Hey guys, let's introduce another character who has the same power as Okabe, but do nothing with it. Oh, thanks. Nice.
I do also think that monologue that he has toward the end is fucking great.
You know, you can still smile in prison. Doesn't mean you're having a good time, you know?
I know.
Anyway, again, I don't know if that show even qualifies because it's just not good, but whatever. Like, I don't want to like, just
Belabor the point.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. Maybe the less said about Steins Gate 0, the better.
I have a different show that maybe qualifies. So,
is it Psychopaths?
No, it's Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
Oh, okay.
It's a really cute show.
Like, what do you have that's similar on your list as Steins Gate? Well, Psychopaths, maybe. No, Dragon Maid.
Dragon Maid, yes. It's a really.
We all want to talk about lesbian dragons.
At least there, it's very obvious it's lesbian, unlike B and A. Fucking pervert.
Mitsuru is a fucking lesbian. Get over it.
Anyway, it's a really cute show. but that's it. And then I remember when people watched it. I mean, aside from how people lost their shit for Kana, which I really like, it's anime community. I don't know what to say. It's kind
Hey,
of.
she's cute. Come on.
She's cute. She's cute.
character.
But you remember the days when that show aired. People lost their collective shit over Kana.
I remember
every week.
the lewds coming out. I do remember those.
Ugh. Why?
Don't
Why?
ugh me.
Why? She's fucking lol. Never mind. My
Hey,
point
hey. Don't you say it.
is she even legal?
Ladies and gentlemen,
Well,
You can't answer that with a straight face.
That pause.
You can't answer that with a straight face.
she's fictional. So yes. She doesn't exist.
FBI, open up! Anyway, that show was just cute, and like, but here's, it's so frustrating to me because I get what's going on with the show because it is really nice how it's trying to drive home themes of family and the importance of family. But when I was watching, I was like, eh, and I was feeling like I'm missing something. Like, what? I don't know, dude. I don't know. And again, maybe just I wasn't in the right headspace for that show. Maybe I was looking for something else.
To be fair, because this is the Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is done by Kyoto Animation.
Yes.
And they do kind of have a history of just making shows that are cute for the sake of being cute. I mean, K-On! Springs to mind.
See, I told you I'm gonna watch it at a certain point, and I wonder how that's gonna go.
I mean, this is kind of from a different angle, and show my disagreement on this. I think you could also throw something like Free into that category.
No, Free is not.
Just cute boys doing cute things.
They're sexy boys doing sexy things.
Now
They're
now
literally
who's
naked,
leading someone underage?
flexing, and dripping.
Some people were attracted to characters in Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think they're the only ones dripping here. Show.
Not me. I'm not a Free stan.
Shows
But I mean-
shows self-challenge while watching Free. I'm gonna stay dry all the way through.
Wow, that's not that hard.
Yeah. But I mean, you get what I say. I'm saying that Kyoto Animation kind of has a bit of a history of this, where it's stories where you don't really have to. There's nothing really deep there.
Oh yeah,
Planet's
that's
first
what you're trying
season.
to say. Then yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just cute girls, cute animation, cute things happening on screen. Just watch it and feel a little like flutter in your heart.
I suppose. Again, it just
There's
like
nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the entire point of the Iyashike subgenre of slice of life. It's to heal you. It's just for you to see cute, chill things happening and just go, "Aw."
yeah, I suppose it's just interesting to see like some people would really connect with a certain show, and I'm going there sitting. It's just a fucking dragon. I don't know what to say.
I wouldn't say that I personally emotionally connected with Dragon Maid, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I do remember the season that it was airing was my like come home from work and just chill, relax anime.
See, it's that was the same season Konosuba season 2 aired, and I remember that was sort of similarly my type of show. Like every Wednesday, I would finish school, go back home, right before bed, watch an episode of Konosuba, lose my shit, and go to sleep happy. You know? And that's why I really very fondly remember season 2 of Konosuba.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I fondly remember Dragon Maid, because the season it aired, it was my like go-to relax after work anime. I kind of have the same feeling about Flying Witch too, which is an Iyashike anime. That
Yeah, I
came
remember
out
you
around
watched
the
that.
same time.
That's right. Sorry to cut you off.
Same kind of vibes. Like it's just a chill, relaxing anime. It's not deep, and that's okay. I like that sometimes. Well, Sho, do you have something you want to talk about now?
Sure. So
Don't sound too excited.
everybody lost their shit when Mob Psycho 100 started airing. And I was just like, this is your typical shonen with some decent animation.
Oh boy, he's gonna explode.
Like, okay, if I had watched this earlier in my anime watching career, I'd be like, oh my god, this is so cool. There's like rainbows and unicorns. Oh my god. But I've seen it all before, honey. I've seen these tricks, and I will not be fooled. Listen.
Have you watched season 2?
Yes, I have. Season 2 was actually really good, but I'm talking about season 1.
Oh, okay. Then, okay. I'm good.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I know when he watched season 2, he was like raving about.
Yeah,
it.
I
So
really like
he
season
must
2.
be specifically referring to season 1.
Yeah,
Season 2
season
is
1
fucking
was
amazing.
very typical, but like everybody lost their shit about season 1, so apparently it was like the best shit ever. When I like, anyways, the point is that if I had watched it when I was not as into the shonen genre as I am now, I would have liked it. But now that I'm a veteran, I'm like, no.
I mean, I have a very unpopular opinion about Mob Psycho 100. I haven't seen either season 1 or season 2.
Speaking of potatoes flying everywhere, the honey, the character designs for Mob Psycho 100.
The characters do look like potatoes. But no, I was going to say, so previous to Mob Psycho 100 coming out, the first season, we had One Punch Man, right? And it's made by, well, the manga, good lord. Thought we were beyond that. But no, the manga for Mob Psycho and One Punch Man is made by the same person. And I watched One Punch Man because it was like you couldn't get away from it while it was airing. You almost had to watch it, or you weren't even an anime fan. Like, what the fuck are you? You don't even watch One Punch Man. You're not an anime fan. So I watched it, and again, I have a very unpopular opinion of that show. It's okay. It's not great. It's not terrible. It is okay.
See,
the story got very boring about halfway through because you always know he's going to win.
One Punch Man is the epitome of visuals are all you need to tell a story. Okay, and you clearly are not a visual man, but the visuals in that thing, honey, god tier. And that's all you need.
I mean,
that's all you need.
I will 100% agree with you. Like, technically, it's a very well-made anime.
That's a fucking understatement, dude.
Its selling point is not its story. It's specifically its visuals, and they are very, very good. It's just I kind of got bored with it halfway through. But after that happened, and I found out that the Mob Psycho 100 was getting an anime, and it was done by the same person, or at least the manga was, I was like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't really care to see anything else by this person.
Very different animation studios, but yeah.
One is Mob Psycho is Bones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. God
yeah,
bless
and then One Punch Man is Madhouse.
I mean, but a big selling point about Mob Psycho is the visuals, so you're gonna have the same problem.
Yeah, I mean,
but they're super different.
They're completely different art styles and animation styles, but
like the quality.
It's still the visuals are a major part of the appeal.
But I feel very similar to both One Punch Man and Mob Psycho. That was a little burp there. I'm very, very sorry. That you probably felt about it, where if I had watched this 10 years ago, maybe I probably would have loved both of them.
Maybe.
I have a feeling like you'll enjoy specifically season 2 of Mob Psycho if you'll give it a shot.
Maybe one day. Gotta get through season 1 first.
It's good as well. Just like season 2 just hits such a like deep emotional points, you know. It's
All right. Well, I have one. Maybe this will be my last one because we are getting close to an hour here. But I have one that is a little bit different because it has to do with it 100% has to do with the time in my life that it came out. So I'm going to talk about Wotakoi. Now, Wotakoi, or Love is Hard for Otaku. So that came, I forget when it, 2 years ago when it came out now? God, has it been that long? Jesus Christ.
Was it 2017 or 2018?
I think it was 2018 when it came out.
Well,
I mean, let me go check. Let me go check real quick.
That show was. I mean, I watched only the first episode of that show. Is super adorable.
Yeah,
It's
2018. It came out spring of 2018. But yeah, so the reason that I bring this up is because had this come out at any point in my life prior to me being an adult, a graduated adult in the working world, I wouldn't have given a shit about it because I could not relate to it.
Mm.
And that show is specifically, it is about people in the working world of working age trying to find love. And it's like, I can relate to that now as someone who is in the working world and is trying to find someone to love, but I don't think I could have related to it anywhere near as much as I do now. If I'd watched it in, say, high school or even college, I don't think I could have interacted. I could have bonded with it, so to speak, back then. I certainly couldn't have anytime before high school. It would have been alien to me. It's like, oh, you fucking losers. They can't find love. But no, I watch it now and I can fucking relate to it because trying to balance like your work life and dating and all the other shit that comes up with like friends and family, like it's so fucking relatable to me now because it's shit that I actually do. And it's not, I mean, yeah, there's some humor in it and stuff, but a lot of it, especially being, you know, a fucking weeb myself, I can certainly relate to the main girl in the show because she's like a uber weeb that tries to hide it from everyone in public.
Girl, you need to
I don't
come
know,
out.
man. I keep going.
What'd
Were
you
you
say,
saying
Sho?
something?
Oh, you need to come out. It's
Oh.
not
Well,
good to
I mean,
keep it inside.
Thank you, Sho. I mean, I don't really make great efforts to hide it now, but I kind of did a little bit when I was in high school and a little bit in college as well. But nowadays, I don't. And there's a scene in Wotakoi where they're on a quote unquote date where they're actually staying at home and reading different manga in the same bed together. And I'm thinking, God, that sounds fun.
That's kind of cute, not gonna lie.
It is. It's fucking adorable. And it's like, God, I want a relationship like this where we can just pass each other volumes once we're done.
See, I never
was about
really
to say-
understood the interest in finding a partner that shares your interest in anime.
I mean,
I don't understand that
ideally,
desire.
you'd want to find a partner. Ideally, you'd want to find a partner. At least I think that you'd want to find a partner that has some interest in common with you. Not to say all of them, but
To some extent, maybe, but I don't know. Like, I
I feel like a lot of weebs are like, I need someone who could watch anime with me, and I'm like, why is
Yeah,
that a
exactly.
priority? I don't understand. Like, that's not the. I don't know why that's the top of your list, girl.
yeah, I
It's
think
not,
like a lot of relationships.
I don't want to make no. It's not at the top of my list. It's certainly a plus if I find someone who I'm interested in who also happens to like anime. But it's not like you have to have this. You have to fucking love it as much as I do. All I ask is that you don't like shame me or try and change me from
No,
liking
obviously.
it. That's all I ask. You don't have to, indulge me in it. All you have to do is just respect that it's something I like. And if you want to try it out with me, I'll be more than happy to teach it to you.
Is it
Not
referring to
sexual
anal?
at all.
I was really trying to think of a way to word that where it's not going to come out sexual, and I made it
When you
worse.
said, I was like, anal?
Wow.
I can be when it comes to anime recommendations. I can be very anal.
Ha 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 ha.
But yeah, I mean, that's not a requirement, but that's part of the reason, like, that Wotsukoi kind of, I really connected with it because I could see myself having a relationship like that if I met someone who was really into anime like I was. And having to balance a work life and, getting together with friends and family. Like, it's something that's very relatable because it's something I've had to do in my working life now.
Imagine being an adult. Imagine
What's
being
that?
a boomer. Oh my god.
How old are you again, Sho?
I'm like 12.
Uh-huh.
I haven't hit puberty yet.
Uh-huh.
That's why my voice hasn't
Uh-huh.
dropped.
Uh-huh.
Have your balls dropped, though?
Oh, honey. You're gonna have to take me on a date first.
Oh my god. Please move on before something happens. Do you wanna go with one more Natai before we get out of here?
Gurren Lagann is okay, I guess.
Wow. What a great
Honey, when I can spell it, I can like it.
Ting
Yeah.
on top of Gurren Lagann.
That's not how you spell
Ting
it.
you top of Gurren Lagann. Okay. So don't get me wrong. The show is fucking great. It's really good. But when I finished it, and that was a while ago, and I do have sort of this urge to maybe rewatch it, but it was a few years ago when I watched it, and I thought to myself, man, I should probably have watched it when like when I first got into anime. Then it would have probably easily been one of my favorites. You know?
Yeah, I mean I still love Gurren Lagann.
It's really good.
I forced myself to say this story doesn't make an enormous amount of sense, but it's also Hiroyuki Imaishi, and does that matter?
Yeah, but again, I don't know. Like, I feel like on one hand, I do feel like if I would have watched it way earlier in my anime viewing career, I would
like
have.
how you keep saying that like you're a pompous prick.
Because it sounds so stupid, so I need to like overplay that. But anyway, I feel like if I would have watched that in even earlier, I would have loved it even more. But now when I think about it, I feel if I will rewatch it now, I'll have a much deeper appreciation for it. Which sounds really weird, but I don't know. That's how I feel right now.
Do you know what I'm hearing when you say that? Is that we should all watch it again and do a fucking podcast about Gurren Lagann.
Have fun with that. You know,
I mean, I'm not.
Show like fuck this shit, I'm out.
you know, I
I'm
like
not to talk about Yoko for 20 minutes.
Oh God, I love an opie lolly.
She's not. Oh,
Jesus.
Anyways, while Nitai contemplates the legality of his infatuations, I will just say that I like the concept of Gurren Lagann, but I just don't like the characters. I have no connection, and I don't really care. I don't.
Just I don't
Honey,
know.
If they just redid Gurren Lagann with a different art style, maybe I would have liked it. Okay, maybe.
I think of all the things to criticize Gurren Lagann about, its art style is probably the bottom of the list for me.
The art style is fucking great. What are you on about?
It's just not doing it for me. It's not giving me anything I need.
The art style looks so similar to Kill la Kill, which I know you love.
Yeah, but Kill la Kill, the main girl was hot. The main boy is not hot in Gurren Lagann.
Have you seen Kamina?
Are you talking about Simone or Kamina?
Simone.
Okay.
What? Older
I mean,
Simone looks great. What are you on about?
Yeah, older
No.
Simone looks kind of awesome. And Kamina looks fucking
No,
amazing.
no, he does not.
Yes, he does.
No.
Get the fuck out.
Big minus. Big minus.
I came to the conclusion that it's okay to be infatuated with teacher Yoko, so fuck you.
Wow. Okay.
I'm in the clear. Fuck you.
The jury does not believe these excuses.
She's a grown-up. She's a teacher. It's fine. It's
I'm
fine.
sure she's taught you a lot.
Oh boy, you don't even know.
Oh my god.
Those classes were the best.
God. Moving on to something
No,
else.
no moving on. This is the stopping point. There's no getting any better than that.
No, I just wanted to say that, so
Sorry.
Sho mentioned that he liked the idea of Gurren Lagann, he just didn't like the characters. I have a similar, because you wrote this down but you didn't talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it now. I have a very similar thing with Psycho-Pass. Like, I liked the first season of Psycho-Pass a lot, but everything that's come after that I couldn't give two shits about, and I've come to the realization that I like the idea of Psycho-Pass. I just don't like Psycho-Pass.
Oh, I watched only the first season. I haven't watched
What
anything after
characters
that.
do you not like?
In Psycho-Pass?
Yeah.
I don't remember any of their names.
Okay.
Um,
Well, honestly, I didn't really like the characters. I did like the main chick, though.
Yeah, I really liked her a lot in the first season. But just about every other character, I can't really. There's very little good shit I can say about them. I
Yeah.
mean,
Kogami,
what
what
was
are
the
you
main
on
guy's
about?
name?
They all
Shin-
feel the same to me.
Kogami.
Kogami. Yes, that was his
Kogami is
name.
the shit, dude.
No.
I mean, he was okay, but I don't think he was the
No.
shit.
It was so good.
he's barking up the wrong tree.
He's barking. That's the point. I love it.
I don't know. There's something about I mean, I love the concept behind Psycho-Pass. I just think it could be done better.
Nah, I think season 1 was perfectly good. It was.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, season 1 was great. I completely agree. But just I can't bring myself to give a shit about anything else after it.
Yeah, that's why I didn't bother watching anything after. People just
I
kept saying
actually
it's-
thought that I don't know if you felt this way, Natai, but I felt like the way it ended in the first season was fine. I didn't think we needed anything else.
it was a solid open ending, you know. I liked it.
Yeah, I just didn't think we really needed anything else. It would
left
have
off
been fine.
yeah, it was a good point to stop. People claim that the movie was good, but I don't know.
I haven't seen it, so I
Yeah,
couldn't
me
say.
neither.
I have heard a lot of people say that, though. And I will say a great aspect of the first season was that the main girl was voiced by Kana Hanazawa.
Fuck, what was the name of that character? I can't remember for some reason.
I bet you it
Akane.
starts with a T.
Oh,
Akane
just said Akane.
Sugimori.
There's a T in there, so I get points.
There is a T in there. You just can't hear it.
Excuse you.
the T is silent.
But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because Sho had mentioned that he liked the idea of Gurren Lagann, just not the characters. So in a similar vein, I feel the same about Psycho-Pass. Do you want to do one more before we get out of here, Sho? So we actually all get the same amount?
No, actually, we started with Nitai, so Nitai got an extra one.
Oh, that's true. That's fuck. I'm a terrible host.
Yeah.
Fuck
What?
me,
I
I'm
talked
a-
about all
count
the
to
shows I
3.
wanted to talk about.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I cannot count to 3. Confirmed. I am literally a moron. But we already suspected this anyway. So yeah, I mean, I think we probably should have ended with you banging teacher.
Yeah, we should
Yoko.
have. What are you doing?
If anyone wants to mail me a body pillow of Teacher Yoko, I'm not gonna stop you. I'm not gonna stop you.
Why don't you take one of my body pillows? I got plenty to
Honey,
spare.
those
I'm
are
not touching your body
stained.
pillows, dude.
Those
Exactly.
are
I'm
not
not touching
hygienic.
those. No, thank you. This is world of Corona. I'm not touching anything.
Oh, honey, you're gonna get more than
You had-
Corona from those body pillows.
Yeah.
Coming back a week later, I like K-On!
No, it'll probably be like, what itches? Why is all of this itching?
Probably be like,
No.
I feel something kicking in my stomach.
Oh. A senpai baby. On that note, thank you out there for dropping in to listen to us. We hope you enjoy it because we always enjoy bringing this stuff to you. I
No,
can
we
talk.
don't. We don't.
Oh, yes, you do. It's a boy, by the way.
Ah.
If you want to check out other episodes of the podcast, you can find us on Apple Podcasts,
Fucking disgusting.
YouTube, BitChute, SoundCloud, and Spotify. If you want to keep up with what we're doing, you can join us on Discord, Facebook, Twitter, and our website. Shoot us an email if you have any questions or if you have ideas for topics you'd like for us to talk about in the future. Also, be sure to check out our links to our affiliate partnership, our affiliate partnership links. I can fucking talk. I swear to God, I can.
No, you can't, you dumbass.
And also be sure to check out our link below to our merch shop. As always, I have been your host, Alex, and I will see you next time. Say goodnight, everybody.
Hello.
He's giving birth. It's time.
Oh no.
He's going into labor.
It's time.
Come on.